guest, Reverend John Joseph Hayab, who is Country Director, Global Peace Foundation, Nigeria. Reverend, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Henacho, and good morning to our listeners.
I'm glad you could make it in.
Yeah, after a long time, I'm here again.
Yes. So let's start with this, conversation about, Nigeria healing and also finding peace. The president-elect, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, had mentioned that it's time for Nigeria to begin to heal. But then the questions on the minds of many Nigerians is, how does this healing process start? Can we ever get to that point where Nigerians consider themselves one again? It seems like we're really polarized along religious lines, not just religious lines, ethnic lines, and almost everything just seems to divide Nigerians now. Can we get, what would you think, or what do you think that process would be towards finding healing and recovery for Nigeria?
The truth is one. Nigeria needs healing. There is no two options about it. Nigeria needs peace. Nigeria needs to overcome the situation or the current situation that we are facing. But you see, just saying that Nigeria needs peace, just saying Nigeria needs healing, just saying Nigeria needs to overcome the current situation is not enough. Because what brought us to where we are have not yet been addressed. And the simple thing that has led us to where we are today is called injustice. When you talk about peace, you cannot preach peace where there is no justice. You cannot promote peace where there is no justice. You cannot sell peace where there is no justice. You cannot encourage peace where there is no justice. You cannot coerce peace where there is no justice. You cannot even propose peace where there is no justice, because it will just be a temporal peace, a peace that will not really make impact in the minds of the people. So the reason why we are where we are, because we have abandoned justice for a long time. When fellow citizens see other citizens as they are not, when fellow citizens see other citizens as if they are not citizens, when fellow citizens treat other citizens as if they are visitors or if they are not citizens, then there's a problem. When those we give them responsibility of leadership assume that they own us instead of becoming our staffs, then we are in problem. So these and many others are the issues. Why do we have tribal differences? Why do we have religious differences? Why do we have regional problems? It's because the system, there is no justice. Because if there is fairness, if there is equity, if there is respect for everybody, you don't care who is what. So the call for peace is important. The call for peace is right. But how do you call for peace when the things that brings about the tension have not yet been addressed? How do you call for peace? Well, you cannot completely exonerate yourself from those who actually brought about the problem we are having. So it's good for us to call for peace, and it's good we are going to be speaking about peace, but to be honest with you, you can never find peace where justice is absent.
Some say the people who have brought us to this point are the politicians. They further divided us, and in this round of election, even the international observers are saying the election further polarized Nigeria. We saw not just ethnic but religious divides deepening further. People, being disenfranchised on the basis of their ethnicity and also on the basis of their religion. That's. I mean, at this point, it seems like we're going back to, even the days before the Civil War and all that. How do we, come out of this?
Yeah, it's really sad and painful for someone to have been born in Lagos, grew up in Lagos, have invested all his life in Lagos, and is actually now, just because of election, because of a particular interest in election, being addressed as not a Lagosian, being addressed as a visitor. He's been reminded that he needs to go back to his village. Where is his village? He had his village, but he didn't build his house in his village. He has his village, but his business is not in his village. The fact that his presence in Lagos, the house he built in Lagos, the business he invested in Lagos, is the reason Lagos is what it is today. So why will you tell such person such word in a country that all of us are citizens? So these are the issues. So as a development practitioner, it's my job every day to remind people the need for peace and tell them how we can build peace, the process of building peace. But you see, experience have continued to show me that as much as we gather people and tell them that we need peace, when those things that brought about lack of peace have not been addressed, you are not doing anything. You are only wasting time. You are only sinking resources. I've even shared this with some donors that, look, do you know that you've been investing so much money in peace building in Nigeria for decades? But after some time, you just find out as if you've never invested anything. The reason simply is that those things that trigger violence have never been addressed. Those things that cause tension have never been addressed. Those things that provoke anger have never been addressed. Those things that make someone feel he will react in such a way you see people reacting have never been addressed. I saw this somewhere yesterday, and I actually picked interest in it, and I just want to read it. It says, I'm afraid to say that there is no peace to build where and when there is no justice. You can't be intentional with mischief, and when you have used it as a tool to secure your spoil of war to the detriment of your victim, you now want to build peace, and you want to talk about peace? How can I settle with the receiver of my stolen pair of shoe who came to the meeting wearing my shoe in plain sight, and he's talking to me about peace? So this is the kind of mindset going out there. So we're going to be talking about peace, but can we be honest to talk about those things that have triggered problem, and can we be honest to address them? Until we do that, if you think you are going to use, you talked about people are divided on religious line, people are divided on tribal line, and others. You see, there is this group that have existed, but this time around they came out forcefully. The cabals who think that they have money, so everything in Nigeria must go their own way or not. They are another group set of identity that are dangerous to the effort of peace in Nigeria. Because when the will of the people is being denied, when people's mandate is being refused, when some group of people sit down and insist that it must be their own way and nothing else, then we are in problem. See, that's why, because what we're simply saying is that you really don't need to campaign. Just belong to us and you will make it. You really don't need to have an agenda or manifestos. Just belong to us and you'll make it. You really don't have to have anything to offer. Just belong to us and you'll be there. So when you get people there who have nothing to offer, who have no manifestos, who cannot campaign to convince people, just because they belong to your team, are you telling us that your team owns this country? And how long will you continue to hold the other people in this country to ransom? Because a time will come when they react. No peace development group can stop them. No force of army can stop them. So we really need to talk about peace, but we need to look at those things that have caused the division, caused the tension. If we address them, then we'll get peace in a twinkle of an eye. But when we don't address them, we can talk about peace tomorrow. We're back again to us. We've never discussed peace.
That's interesting, because some of the issues, speaking of injustice and inclusion and all that stuff, we saw a situation where in Kano State, for instance, election was won, and the people who won the election still went to the streets to say, look, it's not enough for us to win. You need to send you out of, our communities. And that to me was, the height of it. It seems like people who are really tired of a system and they just want it completely changed. Now, if that's what we have, how do we begin to bring people together? We have a president-elect now, looking at all the circumstances surrounding the victory and all of the declaration of the winner in the election, and the fact that many people are disgruntled and some people are going to court. We've seen protests here and there. My prayer is that these protests do not degenerate. How can we manage this now? What do you think he can do and the government of the day can do to bring Nigerians together to ensure that these things do not degenerate?
I think that's where the problem starts. The problem starts with how can the government of the day bring back Nigerians to build confidence. Unfortunately, before election, there were so many talk, assurances, promises, statements, and body language that people accepted from INEC and the presidency. Now look, this time around, we're going to deliver the will. Let me put it this way. Our current president, or outgoing president, is someone who has suffered injustice. It wasn't just one election, it wasn't just two, it was even three before he finally became a president. So the expectation by many Nigerians is that because this man has suffered this kind of political rigging, he will do everything humanly possible to correct it even as he goes, so that someone will not suffer like him. So when statements were coming from the villa or from the presidency that, look, this election is going to be different, this election is going to be credible, this election is going to be fantastic. Everybody, a lot of people, I would say, trusted those statements and had hope. And that's why many people went out there to get their voters' card and wanted to vote. Apart from that, INEC did a lot of talking, gave so much assurance. Some people are even giving you statistics of the number of times INEC would tell you that this is good, how it's going to be. So people trust those words. For me, if I want to add my voice to what other people said, I know some people even around INEC tough people, and I said, I know this one. Let me just trust him. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt that at least something different will come out. Unfortunately, on the day of election, on the 25th, in the evening, apart from the errors that happens in the morning, because sometimes we started by seeing the logistic errors, but the logistic errors were things that could easily be overcome. Then the worst came out. All the promises were shattered. What people thought would be was not. We were told that there's no result if it is not transmitted by beavers. Results were not transmitted, and another news story started coming. Wait a minute, did you tell us that? I remember one of the famous media person had sometimes before the election say, wait a minute, don't tell us a lot about these beavers, and only on the day of election you are telling us beavers could not do this, beavers could not do this, as if he was a prophet and what he said did happen. So beavers did not do what they say beavers would do. And so if these people have destroyed the trust that people have within just 3 days, some people were hopeful that on the 18th we are going to redeem that image, the tainted image. We will bring it back and say, look, that was just an error, that was just a mistake, but we have come back. Unfortunately, the 18th became worse than what we had only because it's not as what are we doing? So if you want to think of how do they bring about the correction we are talking about, I think there's a problem of credibility at the moment. Can people even trust what they hear from them? Can people believe them for what they say? It is when people trust and accept what they say, then you will start the journey towards either reconciliation, understanding, and peace building. But let me say this to Nigerians. Now look, as a Nigerian, what I've resolved to do as a person is that the mistake of another person in INEC or the mistake of one man or some men in Villa should not be me. I love this country and it's my home. I want the best for this country and I'll do my best for this country. So if I have anybody out there, if you are also one of them, we can still work out ways to help our country. Because when we allow everything to get bad because we don't trust some people, when we allow everything to get bad because some people have promised us unfair, we will be making things worse, if not for ourselves, for the future generation. We've suffered too much in this country. Whether we like it or not, there were some successes recorded in the last election. The success may not be the procedure, the success may not be from government, the success may not be from INEC, but the success is that at least Nigerians, many who thought or who had taken some kind of decision not to be involved, got involved. And the powers that be, the cabal or whatever group they call themselves, could see the handwriting and know that if more effort is put together, then it will not be long, they will be out of our way. So let's not drop this momentum because of anger. No. Let's instead build this momentum out of the experience we've gotten so that going forward, we can take back our land. We will take this country back. I don't belong to this one that want this candidate or that candidate to win. No, any of the candidates that win, whoever candidate that wins is, as you said, we already have a president-elect. Whether I voted for him or I don't vote for him, he is the president-elect announced by INEC because it's the recognized institution by our law to announce a winner. That is all right. How do we go about it? But I want to have a spirit that I want to join others to correct. And we're not going to correct by just clapping for evil. We're going to correct by speaking and condemning evil. We're going to correct by obeying the laws of our land. We're going to correct by working with other peoples of like mind to build a new spirit in this country, because this country cannot just be wrong everywhere. No, there are good things in this country. Whether people like it or not, there are wonderful things in this country. The only problem with the wonderful thing is that their voices are low, their voices are weak, their voices are not strong, because the voices of evil seems to overshadow the voices of good. The voices of those who continue to manipulate us seems to be higher because they think they can use money to get everything. But those few good voices are wonderful. And if they consistently continue engaging one another and confronting the evil we are seeing, it won't be long. This evil will have to fly or will have to run away. So Nigeria is our country. We have no option. That's why I come back to the statement credited to the president-elect yesterday, where he is appealing that the issues of tribe and religion, please, let's put it behind and come to unite. What a wonderful way to start, by calling people to unite. My only prayer is, you cannot be the source, or you cannot be the one who's put on fire and then turn back to say, come, let's put off the fire. That's hypocrisy. So be sure that your hands are clean as we do this, and you will get a lot of support from us.
Interesting. Let's talk about the religious clerics. That's tough. People say some of the issues around the religious tones that we got from the election was as a result of religious clerics who took stands and also told their followers to vote a certain way, and then it made it look like, it's us against them and them against us. What do you say to the role of religious leaders in the process?
What you said actually happened, but I think Nigerians must also know that, honestly, across all the political structures, people of different religions were there, people of different identity were there. Those comments were possibly is just a way of addressing a particular concern at that moment, but they didn't shape anything. I'll give this practical example. When I am also an active member of CAN, and I've actually had one of the outspoken leaders of CAN. When we came up with this idea that, look, we do not like the whole idea of Muslim ticket, it was a unanimous decision. But it wasn't long that I got to understand that in the same system, there were some who, like one day we went to a meeting and one person just called me by his side and said, look, this whole thing we're talking about Muslim ticket, I agree with it, but, I come from the Southwest, and we from there, we don't think religion. So please, we may not support this whole thing. Yeah, we'll have to support our son. That day I knew that we are in for a drama. So for anybody to think that the whole Christians were going to vote for one candidate, it wasn't going to happen. And it never happened. Similar thing among the Muslims. For everybody to ever think that the entire Muslim will vote for one candidate, it didn't happen. It wasn't that. I think Nigerians must sincerely know that this election was not just about religion thing. Yes, there were these religious voices, there was this ethnic position, but when we were fighting the religious issues, fighting the religious and regional and ethnic position, there were other group of people who were not in the religious issue, neither were they in the region or ethnic issue. They were just out to see how they would play in the mix of all this drama and steal the mandate of the people. And nobody seems to be talking about them. So sometimes when we even say this religious thing and this, that wasn't the problem. This election was not an election that was conducted to allow the will of the people to prevail. So it wasn't even a religious decision. It was purely some group of criminals who hide under this whole drama that was going and took away people's mandate. Because there's nothing Christianity or Islam or Yoruba or Hausa or Igbo to the failure of beavers to transmit results. There was nothing like that. So, but because those issues were there, people have diverted attention and are looking at those issues. Then the real criminals who hijacked our elections didn't have any of those identities. Their own is just, allow them to fight their religion, allow them to fight their tribal thing, allow them to fight all those identities they're fighting about. We will just take the votes away from them. That's why you are seeing so much claim about, from this party was saying, from the available results from these statistics, we are the winners. This one is saying we are the winners. Then INEC is also declaring her own winner. So I hope and I look forward to see how these things will be unraveled. That is where the courts are going to play a good role, if they will be fair and honest to Nigerians. Let's unravel this thing so that for once we place some people where they belong. Because I have always said to people that one of the reasons why I preach peace and I promote peace is because I have realized that those who steal our commonwealth cannot easily steal our commonwealth if we are united. And that's the same thing they did in this election. Those who stole our mandate couldn't have stolen our mandate if we are united.
No, but then looking at this, all the political parties, have been accused of stealing the elections in one way or in one capacity or the other. So at this point, can we say that mandate was stolen if everybody tried to steal?
Yeah, it was stolen. You see, the mandate is not about the political party. The mandate is the will of the people of the country. The people of this country gives you the mandate. It's not. Look at the atmosphere. Listen to the people. See, I was in Jos some few days after the election, and this thing, one of the person I met in Jos just sat with me and said, look, let me just give you an example. I was also a presiding officer of one of the polling units. As a presiding officer, this was my result. But let me take you to the Beavers and you see whether that was my result that was uploaded. I did upload my result, but how come the result that is there now is no longer my name? Who did that? I think Nigerians should ask question, who did that? Because according to INEC, it is the presiding officer and his team that should upload their result at the polling unit to be to RF. Why is it that the new result coming to be there? Who did it? Someone should ask questions. Someone should investigate this. And that's where police come in, SSS come in, not harassing people who are expressing their views. So if we can have that, those are the people we want to really know. Who are they? Who are those people who tampered with our result? Who are they? Were they doing it on their own? Or someone sponsored them? Do they have the understanding and cooperation of INEC? Or they wanted to discredit INEC? So INEC should even join us in this protest to finding who did this, unless you know something we do not know. Because you see, we have to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. We're not sure what happened. Did they just do it to discredit INEC, or actually INEC knew about it and supported them because there's something? Because if we have a process, let's allow the process be. If the process even brings about someone I do not love, because it's a transparent process, because it's a credible process, it brings about respect. No leader can enjoy legitimacy if the process that brings him on board is shrouded with this kind of confusion. And we want the best for Nigeria. We want a leader that will say, look, you people call me out and gave me this mandate. And so whatever I'm going to do on the mandate you've given me. But when this kind of things happen, if the leader even says mandate, some people ask, wait a minute, you know that we didn't actually give you mandate. You walk behind the scene with some people who distorted our figures and give you the mandate. So let them talk to them. So this is not what we want for Nigeria. We want leadership that enjoy the respect, the love, the support of every Nigerian, if not all, at least certain percent. That's why, according to our laws, you are not pronounced president, you are not pronounced governor until you can score a particular spread to show that you are not just accepted by few, you are accepted by the larger group. So the other ones who did not vote for you will now see that, yes, we didn't want this man, but since the larger group in our state or in our country wants him, let's go with him. See, a winner has emerged, no doubt about it, according to, but if what really happened that period is anything to go by, there are a lot to be explained to Nigerians.
Let's hope that these explanations come forward. But then we'll bring you into the conversation shortly. My guest this morning is Reverend John Joseph Hayab, who is the Country Director of Global Peace Foundation and also Chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Kaduna State Chapter. He's joining us in this conversation this morning, and we would also love to have your opinions later on. Join the conversation. Keep these numbers really close. 09073530044 and 09087668888. You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 09097054450. I'll bring you in shortly. Keep the conversation coming.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja. Join the Eagles 102.3 FM Secondary Schools Quiz Show and be the academic champions. Enroll your school with 2 students participating in mathematics, English, and general knowledge. Registration is 20,000 naira only. And what's more, your school gets massive promotion as long as they remain in the competition. Entry closes on the 18th of March 2023. For payment details and inquiries, please call 090-9719-8377. Eagles 102.3 FM Squeezed Show. Building future champions today.
Has anyone told you you can talk about your business on radio for just 15,000 naira? Get a chance to talk your business for 25 minutes on The Entrepreneur. Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja. For more inquiries, call 090-9984-4433. 090-9984-4433. The Entrepreneur. Talk your business for just 15,000 naira. Hurry now.
There you are, riding in silence, both deep in thought. I bet you the driver think this ride shouldn't cost more, and you the passenger are sure you're overpaying. Never mind, let's just stay quiet. Or you can both download InDrive and agree on a fair price beforehand. InDrive. People driven. The InDrive online passenger transportation aggregator is not a taxi service. For more information, visit indrive.com.
Continues here. This is your radio experience you can count on. You're on to Eagles Outlook, and this morning we're discussing the journey towards, or Nigeria's journey towards healing and peace. My guest is Reverend John Joseph Hayab, who is the country director, Global Peace Foundation Nigeria, and also the chairman of Kaduna State Chapter. Joining us in this conversation. Fantastic, thoughts put forward. You may want to join in the conversation. 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. How can we heal and recover as a nation? Some people who are aggrieved, would they be able to find peace and come back and just, completely heal, and so that we can forge ahead as a nation? You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 090-9705-4450. That is 090-9705-4450. Remember that this is an intellectual conversation. This is a mature conversation. Please put your emotions in check. If you're calling in, be civil, so that we can just have, a conversation that's devoid of any forms of attack. All right, I bring in my first caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you this morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. What's your name?
We thank God. I'm Femi Banen.
Femi, good to have you.
Thank you very much. I want to really appreciate that my friend that is here with you. So we are talking of how the Nigeria will become become what the fifth nation. So the truth is that because even the Bible says when you are hearing peace, prepare for war. So the truth is that we are the challenges of this country, and we don't want to follow the truth. We know the
Femi, that scripture that you quoted, where did you get it from?
So let me just finish for you. That is scripture. That is scripture.
Okay.
I'm quoting the scripture for you.
Well, what chapter of the Bible is that? Is that Bible or Quran?
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish, my chairman.
Okay, go ahead.
So the truth is that we are not following the truth, but we know the truth. We are covering it. When you are covering the truth, even your home, and you are covering the truth from your children, at the end, there's nothing that you want to speak under the sun that will not surface one day. So when we see the truth, let's tackle the truth.
Okay.
By doing this, we can hold a peaceful nation. Even our homes, as a father of the house, you are hiding truth for your family. And the day that your own wife discovers what you are not telling her the truth, there's going to be a problem. So the truth is that this nation, if you say the truth, the next day will kill you. Why is this so? So if we are doing like this, how can we have a peaceful nation? And while politicians, they are using what those are our thoughts to be killing what the politicians, to be killing the clergy, to be killing the innocent ones. But at least we should consider all these things.
All right. Thank you very much, Femi.
So I'm telling the truth.
Right.
If we can follow peace, this nation got to be what is blessed and a fruitful nation.
All right. Thank you very much,
Femi. A nation
Femi.
that will be flow with milk and honey.
Thank you.
That every person, every nation, every person will love to come and stay.
All right. Thank you again. Thank you for calling in. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Okay, this is ID Noble from Orozo.
ID Noble, I'm glad you're here.
I want to thank our guest very well. Honestly, I enjoyed everything that he said. And I pray that God will continue to renew his strength in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Really, I am seriously concerned because of all that we are seeing in the country today. He has said it already. I just felt that I should just say one or two things. I don't know where we are headed. Because if we should allow this thing to continue this way, honestly, I am not trying to be a prophet of truth. But I tell you, I am not seeing anything good in the nearest future. Because just as he said, some people feel that because they have money, they can do whatever they like and nobody can do anything to challenge them. That is what I have seen so far. See what he said about that PO. The figure in his own paper is different from what is on the IRS. Then what are we talking about? So please, I don't know. We should do something about this because this thing shouldn't go like this. Look at what happened in Lagos. A talk threatening people that they should never come out if they are not going to vote for a particular party. Then another one came out again saying that if you are an evil person, you should never think of doing something in 2027. As far as I'm concerned, the whole law of Lagos result should be cancelled. Completely cancelled, and we should do the election again. Anything short of that, honestly, I don't believe in that result. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. And I'm going to bring in one more caller before I get back with Reverend Hayab. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Mr. Prince.
Good morning. Moses, is that you?
I want to appreciate our Honorable Reverend Bade. Thank you for the good work you're doing. Please, we talk about this. Do you know the fundamental factors? One of the fundamental factors that brought to the mess that we are going through today? I think, what are they doing to eradicate this issue of corruption? Because corruption has been the greatest epidemic that has resulted to all what we are saying. You know, even during when election is coming out, the politicians, they will go down to mosques, go down to churches, bringing confusion within the body of the religion. And that is one issue that needs to be addressed. So how can we eradicate this? It is the same corruption that brought this self-centeredness, that brought the issue of what? Segregation, tribalism, and so many other things. How can we eradicate it? Then another thing again is there is this language, it is my turn. As if democracy has turned to it is my turn. Is it not the decision of the masses to vote the one that is capable to that very position? Why must it be it is my turn? Then the issue of cabal being said by your guests, which we appreciate, and that is another problem in this country. There are people who they have already said that this one will be in this position. Sometimes we call them mafians. If you are not in their group, no matter how you struggle, you can never succeed because they can manipulate, they can go to any length to make sure that their own is there. So how can we eradicate this from our system? Then the issue of citizenship. Do we honor citizenship? When can an Igbo man come to the north to be a governor an Igbo man come to the north to be a governor there? When can we? When is it coming to be? When you have another tribe from another place like what is happening in our time. That is another thing. Then another thing again is giving a result when there are issues, on declaring a result when there are issues on the ground. Should there be a declaration of a result when there are some issues that needed to be addressed? This is what is paining many Nigerians.
Okay.
Yeah. Then finally, if we think that the court is the final bus stop, then to me, I'm looking at this issue, which I said this morning. Can we begin to have judges to be the INEC chairman of our time? Yeah. You know,
that's a good one.
Because people believe on judges, and people also believe on clerics. It is not in our time that many of our clerics have joined politics and they are disappointing us. So can we begin to have judges and have clerics to be the INEC chairman? Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Moses. All right, long one there.
Yeah, that's true.
But Reverend, you see, the way that things are going, I had this conversation with someone. He said, could it be that Nigeria we're gradually dividing this country, along religious lines, where certain group of people live on this side and the other group of people live on this side, where at some points people would be disenfranchised completely if they do not represent certain beliefs or do not represent are not from certain identities. What do we do to address that? Because I mean, if we had voter suppression this time around, there was no voter apathy, if you ask me. People turned out en masse to vote. What we saw was voter oppression and voter suppression across many parts of the country. What do we do to address that, especially going into 2027? Because as it is already, the 2027 is in view.
Yeah, that's true. 2027 is just by the corner. But we have not yet healed ourselves of the injury, of the pains, of the disappointment we experienced in 2023. So even if 2027 is just by the door, the fact of it is that we are still limping. We can't even walk to the door to start even talking about 2027. Let's be honest to ourselves. If we just jump because we want to show that we are strong, then we've not corrected anything. We'll just go and make the same experience that we're coming out of 2023 and 2027. So we have to speak out, we have to condemn what is wrong, we have to encourage what is right, and then check what went wrong, why did we do what we do, and who did what. And if it is to be reprimanded, he needs to be reprimanded. Even if it needs to be sent to jail, he needs to go to jail. Where the courts can correct, they need to correct. If it's a rerun, there should be a rerun. If it is to declare the right person as winner, the courts should be able to help. We don't want people voted by the court, that's true. We prefer people voted by the people. But the cabals know very well that even if you take them to court, the court will just look at technicalities, not the main issues, and at the end they will throw away your case and nothing will happen. But if the court will say, wait a minute, this is what the law says. Okay, Beavers, if Beavers is where results are sent, take us to Beavers. Bring local government in all these states and let's see what the Beavers result said. It is the result we find on Beavers that is the authentic result. So if the results that have been announced are not on the Beavers, then they were never our results and cannot stand. By the time they change 1, 2, 3 governors out there and say, look, from the Beavers record, you were not the winner, this is the winner, then in future election, everybody will be careful what he do. But you see, that's another problem we have. How can technology be useful to other nations, but when technology comes to Nigeria, we want to manipulate it with our wuru? How can technology work in other places and give good result? And see, I was speaking the other day on NT and I said, technology, let's use this, the sporting world, the soccer we are familiar with, where the spirit of sportsmanship comes to play after everything is said. Yes, ordinarily the referee may make a mistake and he may not reverse it. Then others say, yeah, that's why technology was brought into it. There's a goal line technology, there's technology, VAR and other things now, and it helps to reduce some of the errors, the human errors. Technology is working in other places, but it's not working here. I've ever sat in this studio and I said something that when technology is being used to address crime or to reduce crime in Nigeria, we shut down a whole network. to deal with criminals. I don't think I understand. The criminals that are talking to people to collect money, we're shutting down a whole telecommunication network to deal with them. Where do we even find them? People are using technology to deal with criminals. We are shutting down technology in our own way of dealing with criminals. We never deal with them. So that is where our problem is. Our problem actually have to do with the integrity of our person. We have so many people in Nigeria that are not ashamed to steal. When they steal, they think they have achieved success. When they store people money, they think that they have achieved victory. When they carry what do not belong to them, they think they are the most successful people. Because you stole my money do not make you the most important person. Because you stole our money do not make you the most strongest person. It actually shows us how ungodly you are, how evil you are. But you know they are shameless. A lot of us are not shameless. We are shameless. We don't even care whatever people think as long as we have what we have. And that's where poverty also comes to play. You see, because there are so many poor people around, the man who has stolen what rightfully belongs to you dash you crumbs and you are clapping for him. The man who has denied you the peace of your land dashing you crumbs and you are hailing him. The man who has taken over what belongs to you, what would have made you and your children and the generation to come happy, he has bastardized and destroyed it. But because he can come and dash you something and you are saying, hey, he is the one. Unless and until we can differentiate and separate people who love this country from those who are destroying this country, celebrate only those who make sacrifice for this country, not those who destroy and turn this country as if it is nothing, people will not change. We have a security system that is protecting those who are privileged, not protecting citizens. That is protecting those who have money, not protecting those who are patriotic. That is protecting those who can pay the bills, not those who have sacrificed to make sure this country does not crumble. And that's why sometimes you find many Nigerians are not willing to make extra sacrifice for good, because they just realize that after all said and done, one funny human being, whether confirmed or yet to be confirmed as a criminal, but his attitude and actions are actually criminal in nature, will just come and the society will be clapping for him. The system that's supposed to protect you will now be protecting you, not you. So nobody wants to do anything right. But I want to encourage that as citizens, we still have a role to play. You talked about religion. As religious people, our religion should be seen in our attitude to one another and our attitude to our nation. My Bible teaches that the greatest commandment is summarized in 1 or 2. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your might. And then the second one, which is next to it, and the same, is love your neighbor as yourself. If you love God, you will not want to do what will bring shame to your family. If you love God, you will not want to do what will bring or destroy your nation. If you love God, you will not want to bring up, put someone who is created in the image of God into destruction. If you love God, there are things you would not do. Even if they look, when they throw money on the street, you will even ask, please, who is the owner of this money? Can you come? I've seen money here. Who is the owner? Because you're not going to take it away. That is how much you love God. And how do you show it? You now show it by demonstrating that love to your fellow human being. And I like the way the Bible says that love your neighbor as yourself. How do you love yourself? When you are sick, you go to hospital. How do you love yourself? When you are hungry, you eat food. How do you love yourself? When you are dirty, you go in and take a bath. Well, how do you love yourself? When you have a long distance to travel, you want to use a good car. So think about your neighbor, that when he's sick, how would he be attended to? Think about your neighbor when he has to travel or he needs to travel. How does he also travel? So whatever you require to put in place for him to have his journey smooth is what you do. If those we place them in government take care of our needs, our medical needs, our transport needs, our food needs, whatever our housing needs and whatever needs, we won't talk about religion, we won't talk about religion, we'll just talk about governance. But in this country, that is not what is happening. And so sometimes it's the happening around that triggers and wake up all those sentiments that are supposed to have died in us. And we say, wait a minute, since the issue is about who knows who, the issue is about who is there, so my own should also be there. And even if your own is criminal, you still want him to be there, not knowing that a criminal is a criminal, even if he comes from your house. So I think Nigerians must understand how these people have boxed us and cover our eyes from seeing the reality of what is happening. That's why you see a lot of crisis around. People in Nigeria are fighting, not fighting for justice, not fighting for good things, not fighting for better service, not fighting for better Nigeria, fighting to defend criminals. I've seen situations where the moment someone has stolen what belongs to us and we want to fight him, all he will do is to run to another group and tell them, they are actually challenging me not because of what I've done, but because I belong to you. And someone from there will come to fight you, defending him, not knowing that you are not fighting him because you are fighting him because he has taken what belongs to us. So if we collectively know who is our enemy, we collectively know who has done us wrong, we collectively know who has denied us peace, we collectively know who has caused us this sorrow and pains that we are going through, listen to our those who have responded this morning, and go out on the street of Nigeria, you will know that the large section of Nigeria are not happy with the fact that we've never had a sad period, a long sad period in Nigeria as we have from the 25th to today, because Nigerians are not happy. The few ones that probably are celebrating, we are not saying that this particular person must win, but let the process be transparent. If the process is transparent and he emerges winner, let it be.
Very well. And looking at this, in 1 minute, I'd love you to answer this. Do you think that we need to go back, looking at how polarized Nigeria is, do you think we need to go back to the regional, system of government where, not one person just takes it all? Do we need to, go back to that era where maybe in 1963 when Nigeria had regions and, each region competed against the other, favorably?
See, anything we think that will help unite us, we need to think of it. I don't want to go just and jump up and say, go back to regional government. With the spirit, with the attitude, with the tension now in Nigeria, if you even bring in the regional idea, you will further split us apart. What do we do? Nigerians just need one thing. The name of that thing is justice. Once there is justice from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, be it a regional government, be it state governors, whatever you call it, there will be that joy, there will be that sense of belonging, there will be that this is about us, this is our own. You see, in peace building, what we encourage people to do is to take ownership of the peace process. Then it will work. But once you come and just say what you want and they don't take ownership, you will go and a new fight will start. That's the same thing with Nigerian development. Until we make Nigerians the owners of Nigeria, until we make Nigerians the owners of those who are in power in Nigeria, until we make Nigerians the owner of what belongs to Nigeria, things will not change. And how do we make them? By honestly knowing that our constitution says we, not those who are in power. Our constitution talks about all of us. How could our constitution make us the owners of this country and then you get into power and you make us your servant? How could our constitution say we own this country and you get into power and you make every other person? Do you see how those in politics or government in Nigeria blow siren, and sometimes even if you are in a haste to carry your sick brother to hospital and you have someone with a pilot car in front of him, he will deny you, you will never overtake him, he will make you look as if you don't have anything, you have to follow him even if he's running at a very low speed, you cannot overtake him, the police will be, what kind of a country? Do we even think how it works? Can't we even respect that people have other rights? Can't we expect that people have other things that is more important to them than you walking? Must you even blow your siren because we are on the highway? The highway belongs to all of us. So go on your lane and allow other people to move. That is how much we have suppressed Nigerians in this country. So unless and until justice becomes the watchword, whether it's a regional government, whether it is new state created, whatever you call it, it will not work. One of the callers said something here. How on earth will you think that certain people cannot belong to Kano, cannot belong to Enugu, cannot belong to Lagos? Was Lagos just made by the people who are in Lagos? If Lagos was allowed to remain Lagos by the people of Lagos, Lagos wouldn't have been what it is today. Go into Lagos and check the larger industries that are in Lagos and those who have turned Lagos to be the most joyful and sweet place. You will know that they have no business with Lagos in the first place. But since they have come, invested in Lagos and make Lagos what Lagos is, why should you chase them away and even ask them not to exercise their right? The current Prime Minister of England, UK today, is not British, but he later his parents came and he is now enjoying the right of a citizen of the United Kingdom and is even a Prime Minister. And you tell me that an Igbo man cannot be a councillor in Kano, cannot be a councillor in Sokoto, and an Hausa man cannot be a councillor in Enugu. What do you think of us? How can we develop? What makes England, London, a very beautiful city, a sweet city, is because of the different group that is there. What made New York, what makes Washington DC, what it is, what makes Maryland, what it is today is because when you go there, you will still have Nigerian restaurant, you have Ghanaian restaurant, you have have Cote d'Ivoire restaurant, you have other sushi from other part of the world. So when people just come there, they are at home as if they have not, they feel at home as if they are not far away from home. So that's what makes all the nations of the world what they are. But we are beginning to run a system where only people who belong to our tribe, who belong to our religion, who belong to our form of identity come together. And then we will come to the public square and say, oh, we need peace. What kind of peace are you talking about? So I advocate for peace, but I want a peace that gives everybody the respect he desires.
A good way to end the show this morning. Reverend John Joseph Hayab is Country Director, Global Peace Foundation, Nigeria. He's also the